So I'm sharing some sermon illustrations from the life of Joe Namath. Now I'm fully aware that Joe Namath has been treated for alcoholism, and of course he's been, I'm sure, called different names by the press because of his flamboyant ways. Some of that was actually, I think, part of a PR effort to get attention to the American Football League, and it may have been something that the PR people, public relations people, wanted him to do. I do want to commend Joe Namath for the honesty in his book, and if you read it, you'll see he is honest about how he got addicted to alcohol, and he appears to be very honest about his life. So I'd like to commend him, and I'd also like to recommend that you offer prayers for him, that he come to a strong, saving faith in Jesus Christ our Lord. Well, with all that said, I'm trying to bring about some illustrations from his life, if you dare to use them or want to use them. And we're going to go to the transition time after he's a marvelous success in high school as a quarterback. Now, he could have probably gone into any sport, basketball or baseball, but it was football, and many colleges, universities wanted him, and he thought he was going to end up in Maryland, but as it would be led for his life, he would go down to University of Alabama under the famous coach Bear Bryant. So we pick it up on page 101 at the bottom. So off to Alabama I went, where my freshman year almost brought me to my knees. Now that's interesting too, because he's had numerous problems with his knees in life, and he's only using this in a metaphorical sense. But you can use this in terms of testing, how we're always being tested. Summer was brutally hot. And humid. Not to mention, we were forbidden to drink water during practice. And even once it ended, it wasn't over. Immediately after the last whistle, we had to run sprints with full pads. I wasn't sure I was going to throw up or pass out first after my first real practice. My legs were just rubber. They were wobbly and my head was pounding. When the coach ended practice, some teammates were so spent that they dropped and lay down on the field, heaving and gulping for air. I didn't even take my cleats off, just staggered straight into the locker room past players splayed on the floor and the benches. I headed straight to the shower, turned it on, and sat down on the floor, in full pads, as the water ran over me. I had never felt that way before, and it actually generated some self-doubt. This was August, and classes wouldn't start for a couple of weeks. Could I do this twice a day? At least 5 days a week? And looking back, I realized that the coaches wanted to weed out the less determined players. There was a price to pay to stay on Coach Bryant's team. This was a bonding experience, and everybody that lasted had to earn their way. Well, anyhow, it's about testing and making it intentionally rough. And that's usually what they do in a boot camp, especially Marine Corps boot camp. You make it intentionally rough so that the person will develop all kinds of skills and energies and strength that will be needed much later in life. The testing to weed out the less desirable players. And so you can see in the Bible there are many tests that are given in the lives of God's people. Thank you for watching. End of video.